Oh, shit.
Here we go. Not my white ass talking about Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. All right, here we go, y'all. Here we go. Not my white ass talking about Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. That's exactly what we got. My white ass talking about Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. Okay, so look, I have to admit, man, I've been obsessed with this beef. I've been obsessed with this beef ever since the first, official straight up diss track dropped, which, of course, was Push-Ups by Drake. You could argue that Like That maybe was sort of the first, direct attack, but I don't know, it was still, everybody knew who Kendrick was talking about when he said, fuck the big three, there's only big me, said something like that. But at the same time, Push-Ups is a dedicated diss track, right? So ever since Push-Ups dropped, I've been really, really interested in this beef. So right off the bat here, I'm about to give you a poll on who people think are winning this battle, right? But then I'm also going to walk through the whole thing, give the backstory, and then give my take on who I think is up and all that. Now, you have to bear in mind, there's a massive grain of salt with these numbers that I'm about to give you, because this poll from YouGov was conducted before Family Matters from Drake, which is Drake's, I guess, third diss, but it's his longest one, and before 616 in LA and Meet the Grams and Not Like Us. So basically, this is a snapshot as to how people felt, after probably the first round. You could say probably the first round, because it was Push-Ups and Euphoria, and then also the AI one that Drake had done with Tupac and Snoop and himself. Forget what that one was called, but anyway, so here's what people were thinking halfway through this beef, and then we'll talk about what happened since then. Among all hip-hop fans in America, 26% say Kendrick Lamar won, and 18% say Drake won. So 26 to 18. So that's an 8-point advantage for Kendrick Lamar. Among all hip-hop fans who have been following the beef closely, 48% say Kendrick Lamar is up, 33% say Drake. So it's an even bigger gap. More people think Kendrick is winning when you go to the fans who are following everything closely. So what's the math on that? 30. So it's a 15-point margin that Kendrick Lamar is up when you go to people who are following this closely. And again, I want to reiterate, this is before most of the diss tracks, before Family Matters from Drake, before 616 in LA from Kendrick, before Meet the Grams from Kendrick, and before Not Like Us from Kendrick, and before The Heart Part 6, which is Drake's most recent drop. At least as of the recording of this segment right now. You guys know this stuff changes so fast. As I'm talking, Kendrick might be releasing another track in response to Drake. Okay. So, what's my take on it? I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning. So, I gotta be honest, I'm kind of a well-known Drake hater. Everybody in my inner circle could tell you, I've always kind of been a Drake hater. I'm just not a big Drake fan. All the songs he released over the years that have been big hits, I just found them kind of annoying. I don't know, I'm not trying to, poison the well here up front, but that's just my genuine reaction to Drake is, I find his voice kind of annoying. I find his hits kind of generic, I guess is the right word. But then at the same time, this really goes to show you I'm kind of unbiased, is that I've never really been a big Kendrick fan either. Look, I'm what the kids nowadays would call an old head, right? I'm an old head, meaning when I followed hip-hop more closely is when I was younger, right? I'm the era of when 50 Cent became massive. That's really when I was most paying attention and following stuff. And, I'm sure my list of who I think are the GOATs, in my opinion, are going to be literally nobody else, because I'm so biased by the time and place that I was raised. To me, I think Lil Wayne is probably the greatest rapper of all time. I also love Fabulous and Jadakiss. I also have a soft spot. I love Southern rap because I think the beats are just fire. And so but I'm more of an old head. I'm not an old head as in like, Big Daddy Kane and going all the way back that far, but I guess semi-old head, I guess you'd call it. So I haven't even been up on rap a lot recently, but as far as Kendrick and Drake go, I would say neither one of them are really my cup of tea. But I started paying attention. Like That came out. I listened to Like That. I think it's a pretty dope song. I think it's kind of agrees it's a pretty dope song. I kind of like Future, even though in my world he's like a newish rapper, even though he's been out for a while now. Again, that shows you what my frame of reference is. I like rap, but I'm definitely what you'd call more of like a casual fan. So Like That comes out. I kind of like it. Of course, the line from Kendrick on that really sort of sparks the debate or makes this feud bigger. And actually, that's not even fair because what was it that came? First Person Shooter came before Like That. And that was when J. Cole suggested that himself, Drake, and Lamar were part of the Big Three. And then Kendrick Lamar comes out and ditches Drake and Cole when he says, motherfuck the Big Three, it's just Big Me. Okay, so I like the song Like That. Then Drake comes out with Push-Ups, right? And I gotta be honest with you guys, even though I'm a well-known and documented Drake hater, when Push-Ups came out, I was really good at it. Like, I actually really like this. It's sort of, honestly, one of my favorite, Drake songs. I thought, shit, this is, not only does it sound good, but I thought it was a good diss of Kendrick. Now, granted, I'm not up on all the facts about Kendrick or the facts about Drake, so I'm almost taking the song for what it is, taking it at its word with the disses that Drake has thrown out there. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, wow, Drake is really getting Kendrick here. And then after that, Drake drops the tailor-made freestyle is what that's called. I have the Wikipedia up here walking me through the beat because there's so many moving parts to this beat. Tailor-made freestyle comes out, and that's where Drake uses AI Pop and AI Snoop. By the way, I wonder how Snoop felt about that, being that Snoop is still alive, right? Like, if he's not on Drake's side, you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, right? And honestly, I thought that was pretty good too, because it seemed like, yeah, they're beefing, but Drake is also kind of having fun with it, and I don't know, being creative, and it didn't feel particularly mean-spirited or fucked up. It just seemed like he was dissing Kendrick, but he was also sort of having fun with it and putting out good music. And so I love the push-ups. I like Tailor-Made Freestyle. I don't think it's as good as push-ups, but I think it's very clever. And so at that point, I think a lot of people who are following this are thinking, God damn, Drake is sort of killing his ass, right? But then everybody was warning, first of all, people know don't fuck with Kendrick. Number one. Number two, he's going to hit you with some shit, right? He's going to hit you with some shit. Then, Kendrick releases Euphoria and 616 in LA. He did it, very quickly. I think, within a day? It was both of them. And look, here's the thing, and this is where my casual fandom starts to come out, right? I'm definitely not the target audience. I feel like for Kendrick, he's thinking the target audience is people who know and love hip-hop and have, the advanced degree in hip-hop, for lack of a better way of describing it, right? Because what Kendrick does is he jams his lyrics packed full of, double entendres and triple entendres and, he makes them really deep, right? He makes them really deep. He makes it have multiple meanings. He's super fucking clever and creative with it. And I have no doubt that both in Euphoria and 16 in LA, he did that, right? This is a rapper's rap song. This is somebody who's really deep in that world, can listen to it and get all the nuances of it. Somebody like me, a casual fan, not as much, right? So I understand at the same time, while Euphoria and 616 in LA, they weren't my cup of tea, I also know it's not really made for me, casual fan, who's listening to this. It's made more for, if you know hip-hop, if you know rap, and you can understand the nuances of what he's saying and read in double and triple entendres and things like that, it's for you, right? So at that point, boom, I would argue that even though it wasn't for me, I didn't like Euphoria and 616 in LA as much as I like Push-Ups, if I'm being honest. But again, casual fan, right? And I'm not the person who ultimately decides at the end of the day who ends up winning here, right? That's more of the crowd reaction, how everybody feels about it. After Euphoria and 616 in LA, in my mind, okay, they're kind of tied now. if anything, people were saying at that point, no, actually, Kendrick eclipsed Drake already with that. Okay. And this is where it gets really interesting, bro. So Drake releases Family Matters, and within 20 to 30 minutes, Kendrick releases Meet the Grams. Okay. Now look, I gotta be honest, here's the problem for Drake in this scenario. Family Matters, I thought was really fucking good, man. Really good. There were like 3 beat changes, and he switched up his flow 3 different times, and he sort of packed it full with substance and his narrative about Kendrick, and I thought it was good. But it was a brilliant strategic move from Kendrick to drop Meet the Grams within 20 or 30 minutes of Drake dropping Family Matters. Because what happens is, everybody has the recency bias, and it's like, that's the most recent shit that dropped, so that got the most attention. That got the most eyeballs. Right? And Meet the Grams, bro, it was like dark, right? It was dark. It was like Kendrick was writing a letter to different members of Drake's family, one by one by one, and just dissecting the shit out of Drake and basically laying out his narrative about Drake for everybody to see. And so, and by the way, I don't know, I probably haven't brought this up yet, but I'm sure a lot of you guys are following this anyway, so you already know this, but according to Kendrick, Drake is a culture vulture, right? Like, he's not really part of the Black American culture, but he basically, like, latches onto it like a parasite and monetizes off it. That's one of the claims against Drake. He's a dick to his boys, like, you know, he stole Lil Wayne's girl when Lil Wayne was in prison, and fucked Lil Wayne's girl, and then he got a tattoo on his arm when Lil Wayne got out to, like, apologize for it, but apparently, you know, there's accusations he's been stealing all types of rappers' girls for a really long time. They're totally disloyal. That's another allegation against him. The other thing is that, look, he's just like a fake. He's like an industry plant type shit, right? He's more with the management of the industry than he is with the rappers, right? That's another. And then the main accusation, of course, is that he's a pedo. He likes Pedialyte, right? That's the main accusation from Kendrick against Drake, and he comes back to that in a bunch of the songs, right? And Drake's argument against Kendrick, to sum it up, is like, look, his activism bullshit is just fake. Like, he doesn't really care. He's not actually going to the hood and handing out money or doing anything directly helping people. It's just like, he's a virtue signaler. That's one of the claims. The other one is Kendrick's manager knocked up his wife, and one of his kids is not his. Well, look, again, this is what Drake says. I don't know whether or not that's true. I don't even know how many kids Kendrick has, to be honest with you. I don't know. But then the most explosive allegation that Drake makes against Kendrick is he beats his wife. Right? You're accusing me of liking Pedialyte, you beat your wife. So this is like the core of their arguments, and then, you know, and then you can go into all the weeds and the specifics. But dropping Meet the Grams within 30 minutes of Family Matters dropping was a brilliant strategic move from Kendrick, because it just, Drake was gonna have a moment with Family Matters. Everybody's like, damn, he sort of bodied him. But he didn't get that moment because of the super quick rebuttal where Kendrick had that in the holster and just fired right away. Okay? And then here's where it goes from bad to worse for Drake. So at that point, after Meet the Grams drops, after Family Matters, I think everybody is kind of like, damn, that was a brilliant strategic move from Kendrick, and I think Kendrick is up, right? And by the way, at just a song against song basis, I think Family Matters way better than Meet the Grams. Meet the Grams is like dark, it's like a horror movie vibe to it. It's very like addressing the letters directly to Drake's family members, and the beat is has a sort of like a menacing sound to it. So which song would I want to listen to more? Absolutely Family Matters. I think it's just a better song. I do. But that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, who's up according to everybody? According to, you know, the mainstream opinion and perspective. At that point, I think everybody was saying Kendrick's up. Because it was such a good move to drop 20 minutes, 30 minutes after Family Matters drops. It took the air out of the tires for Drake, and it was the most devastating, like, I'm going for your jugular type shit in that song. Okay. But it gets worse for Drake, right? Because Kendrick then drops, in my opinion, his best diss, and by far. It's not even close. Not like us dropping. Bro. See, this is Kendrick. Kendrick was showing his range here, right? He's like, I could do rappers rapping, I could do like multiple layers to it, deep, etc. Or if you want, I could give you a hit too. And that's what Not Like Us is. It's a fucking hit. it's similar to Drake in the sense that Drake will make a diss track, and the diss track will sound good. You want to play it. That's what's happening with push-ups, right? He's like, I can do the same shit. I'll give you a banger that you can play in the club, and it's also a really good diss. Not like those drops, boom. At that point, everybody's like, holy shit, Kendrick's mauling him. And then Drake drops after that. Drake drops one more thing. And again, this could all change by the minute, but as of the recording of this right now, this is where we're at. Drake drops the hard part 6.
That's interference.
And in that, he basically tries to rebut Kendrick. By the way, one of the things that Kendrick accused Drake of, I forgot one of the biggest things, is that, you have a secret daughter that you haven't acknowledged. Just like Pusha T was able to get Drake to admit that he had a secret son, and almost like bullied him into becoming a better father, right? It's Kendrick now taking a page out of the Pusha T book, me like, actually, you have a secret daughter too, and you're hiding it, and you're a shitty fucking father. That was one of Kendrick's main claims. Drake comes out and like rebuts a lot of the allegations against him, and basically says, and a lot of Drake stans were saying this on Twitter before Drake even responded, like, no, what happened was a lot of those disses that Kendrick was saying against Drake actually fed Kendrick false information, so he would go out there and make a diss song, and the diss song will be based on false information, and then he'll look stupid because Drake has to come out and say, we planted that and I knew you'd run with it just because you fucking hate me. Like, your hatred for me comes first, before evidence and facts. And so now you're going out there, and you're accusing me of doing something bad and doing this diss, but you have no evidence for it whatsoever. You didn't do any research. You're just going with the hearsay and the shit that they say against me, and I know, because we leaked you that false information. And because Kendrick all along had been accusing Drake of somebody in your inner circle is actually a mole in there with me, right? And basically Drake flipped that and was like, motherfucker, we've been playing you all along, and you're accusing me of having an 11-year-old daughter. I don't have an 11-year-old daughter, but you hate me so much that overrides your commitment to the facts and to the evidence. And so Drake tried to flip it at the end like that. And by the way, all he had to say on the Pedialyte allegations, definitely his weakest response was on that. Basically like, no, because I'd already be in jail if that was the case. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. That's a super weak response to be like, I'd be in jail. I don't know, a lot of people who do horrible things are still free. I mean, look at Diddy, right? Diddy's still wandering around Miami somewhere, even though he's got 47 investigations into him. So anyway, I think everybody at this point now expects Kendrick to drop again soon, because, look, I think Kendrick's got a whole fucking album, just nothing but Drake disses. But overall, I gotta be honest, man, this is probably one of my favorite, if not the favorite, rap beef of all time. Like, I've been loving this. I've been following it every minute. It's kind of funny, because, again, I'm a well-known Drake hater, but after Push-Ups came out, after Taylor Made Freestyle, and even Family Matters, I like those songs. I'm like, damn, how is it at his worst moment, he's making me like him more, right? But ultimately, I think who's winning? I still think most people are going to say Kendrick is winning. Because, I don't know, look, I'll say this. It depends on what's actually true, right? If Drake actually fed Kendrick false information and he ran with it just because he hates Drake, well, then you got to say, I guess, Drake is correct factually. But a lot of people are skeptical, and I think rightly so, that Drake is being honest about that. He may have just taken the argument that a lot of his stans were making and used that narrative because it was his only out to make that argument, right? And so if Drake's not telling the truth about that,